places. Okay.
Okay.
You may have noticed a lot of boxes in my background. I can assure you I'm not being deported, or at least I don't think but I have just moved, literally.
Oh.
Not out of town, but I have changed addresses within Belmont. Okay.
Oh, so you're not 2 blocks from Johnny Bo anymore?
No, unfortunately, I'm not. I always look forward to I wasn't even 2 blocks, maybe a block and a half. I always look forward to running him on a walk while he was running and I was walking. But no, I'm afraid not. I moved from the Payson Park area to the well, it's essentially the senior resident area of Belmont, the Woodlands. So that's where we are at this point. Although it's not officially the senior resident, it is in fact the senior resident.
No, best of luck.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Looks nice.
Yeah, it's I'm undergoing a psychological transition from a place that I lived in and loved for 30 years to a different place.
So different things.
Okay, it's okay. I'm sure I'll get used to it. And the more important thing is everybody in my family thinks it's a great idea. So
All right. So the recording started. I'm going to call the meeting to order on April 28th, 2025. The first thing on the agenda, as usual, is to choose somebody to take the notes. Jim did it last time. My thanks to him. I need somebody to do it this time. And I don't know whose turn it is.
Okay.
Thank you, Jonathan. Jonathan Burge will be the scribe for the day. Thanks. So attendance you can get
no,
from.
I think you got the wrong Jonathan, actually.
Well played, Jonathan Green.
Oh, you're right. I did. You're right. I did. Sorry. You're both
Sorry,
next to me.
Jonathan.
You're next to each other on my screen, so the light just kind of threw me off for a little bit there. I got the wrong one lit up.
And here I thought I had dodged a bullet.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Jonathan Green, for taking notes for this meeting. We have another potential bomber in the waiting room, but and I've asked them to identify themselves, and I'm basically ignoring until they do. So, moving on, the first item of business is to go through the minutes from last time. So let me share that. And can you guys all see that?
Yeah,
I can see it now.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
As Jim was noting before, although this person did identify themselves in the chat, it's not clear whether they were part of a group of Zoom bombers, because we had at least 3 non ITAC member windows, one of which did the Zoom bombing, one of which purported to be Belmont IT department, and in the chat said they were Sam Ross, but in email after the fact, Sam Ross said he was never there.
Sorry, I have to drop. Our smoke detectors are indicating carbon monoxide, and I got to figure out what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Good luck, Jim.
Right.
Seriously.
Open a window.
Yeah.
Who's told
let us know you're okay, Jim.
He's just dropped. Okay.
Hopefully not literally.
Yeah, right.
Oof.
Anyway, I'll keep scrolling down when you tell me you're ready.
I'm all set, yeah.
Okay.
And when we go into executive session tonight, we can review the minutes from the executive session.
Okay.
Okay.
So if everyone's okay with it, I'll take a motion to approve.
So moved to approve.
Second.
Okay, I'll go across the windows on my screen. Dan,
Yes.
I'll say yes. Jonathan Burge,
I wasn't there, so I should abstain unless that causes a problem.
that shouldn't cause a problem. Phil,
Same.
okay. Charles,
Aye. Yeah.
Jonathan Green,
Yes.
and Paul.
I will defer.
Okay, well, that's all ayes and a few abstentions. That's enough to pass the minutes. I will take the responsibility of submitting them to the town clerk.
Thank you.
And the other potential Zoom bomber has dropped. Oh, no, he's
Okay.
back.
By the way, Dave, if I could just take 30 seconds
Go ahead.
for self-promotion here. My house is going on the market in about 2 to 3 weeks. It's on Elizabeth Road, which is in the Payson Park area. If you know any, frankly, couple with a couple of kids wants to move to Belmont, we can strike a deal. 71 Elizabeth Road. So the rest of you guys, I think, are all settled, or you're too old to get it out. But if you have younger colleagues or what have you, it's a good deal. Okay. That's it. Thank you.
Okay. Well, there's no members of the public here, so we can skip over that. I want to provide an update on the ITAC email address. I got clarification from Chris in email that indeed the address is like a mailing list. So if it'll get sent to me or me and Dan, however we want to do it, it could go to the whole group, but they don't recommend that. Any reply I send will be captured, it'll be CC'd and it'll be captured, and that will take care of any open meeting, public record requirements. So I told them to go ahead and create it. I assume they may have already done that, and I haven't seen any messages. So, but I think that'll be I think it'll be on the website once that's done. I haven't looked for it. And I guess I'm gonna hand it over to Paul, who offered to give us an update on the library IT and AV.
Yeah, so I met with the library board of trustees last week, I guess, that appoints me to this committee, and just kind of their semi-annual meeting with them. And we talked about the state of the library, and there wasn't so I, as always, offered our services if they have, any need for our, kind of input on, systems to invest in or cybersecurity, those types of things. They definitely seemed receptive to it. They didn't have any specific, I think possibly just because of where we are in the construction cycle, they didn't seem to have any specific questions or action items with regard to the IT and networking system. I mean, they, as was the case with the old library, a lot of their services come via the Minuteman network, which obviously they are a part of but don't control. although Peter Sturziero, the head of our library, is, I think, becoming head of the director of the Minuteman library network. So he's going to have like a senior role there. He's not leaving Belmont, but he's just kind of the lead library representative.
Sorry to interrupt.
So
But someone had told me that Belmont was not part of Minuteman, but I guess that was not true.
that's true.
Okay.
Yeah, we are part of the
Yeah.
Minuteman Library Network. Yeah.
All right.
Well,
Okay.
I was-
Okay. I just want to break in real quick. There's a phone user in the waiting room, so I'm gonna let that in because they probably can't bomb us.
Well, I can scream or something. I don't know.
Well, yeah. And I did. Would the person on the phone please identify themselves?
Hello.
So I'm going to ask you to identify yourself, or I'm going to take you out of the room. 3, 2, 1.
Okay. So much fun.
Yeah.
So I basically they have a couple new board members on the library board of trustees. So I explained to them what ITAC does, and offered our services. I do feel like, it would be good to meet with them and talk, when they're getting into the sort of, configuring the network and the other kind of IT elements of the library, which again, they're not there yet. They're still building the thing. To talk about some of the issues around security, around software support, around kind of what measures they're taking to protect their systems and their networks from malicious actors. My sense is a lot of this kind of falls to the town's IT department, but the library is a little bit is a little bit of a hybrid organization because of its access to the Minuteman network and stuff like that. So, if we want to sit down with them and talk about kind of, and they also have a fair amount of, smart connected devices in their environment, from, surveillance cameras, which are going to have a lot of, to, some of the other IT infrastructure, photocopiers and stuff like that. We probably want to sit down with them and talk about that. Maybe talk about kind of zero trust stuff. And
Are
so,
there any emerging threats that we're aware of that specifically target libraries?
well, I mean, ransomware groups are targeting, local governments and towns all over the country, not libraries in specific, although there was an attack on Colorado libraries, I think, probably a month or two ago, ransomware attack that hit a whole bunch of libraries in Colorado. So, whether that was just a coincidence of the particular, platform they were targeting, or who knows. But so, yeah, there have definitely been libraries hacked. And, again, especially since all of our libraries are connected through this Minuteman network, man, that's a pretty fat target. You could take out Minuteman and get every library in the state, basically. From a ransomware group perspective, that's a pretty rich target.
Mhm.
And I just don't know, I don't get a sense that they necessarily, I mean, it's not their job, but I mean,
Mhm.
are they doing, just like every other department in town, are they doing threat modeling? Are they doing, focused on, incident response and, having an incident response plan? And no. So could we help them with that? I know we've offered it to the town, the IT department department's handling it. Could we have a conversation with them that's a little bit more specific to their unique kind of circumstances? Yeah, I think that would be useful. So that's that. I did also talk with them about, on a much more concrete basis, about doing some public education sessions. They're super interested in that. And I basically said that I would brief this committee on it, and we would follow up with them. I think they're interested in honestly setting up a long-term schedule of, whether they're quarterly talks or what have you, and they don't need us to do it all for them, but if we could contribute a couple talks to that schedule, I think they'd be very thankful. And I thought one right off the top would be, just kind of scams, and cyber risk, and how to, protect yourself from whatever business email compromise attacks, or those types of things. How to kind of just, phishing attacks, like, oh, you got a text message from, Fidelity Investments that said, it asked you to approve the withdrawal. Do you know enough to, look hard at that link, and, know that that's not Fidelity, or I mean, that type of conversation would be super useful, and I think they'd be really into it. They thought about, that in terms of where to do it. We talked about the Beach Street Center, obviously, which is kind of serving as a library right now, or somewhere else, town hall, or what have you. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but I think that's their primary focus. They would just love to have some tech-focused public information sessions. They're looking right now, with no library building, to just keep the community engaged and let everybody know, like, library's still here. We're still doing stuff to engage with and educate the public. And, if ITAC can help them do that, I think they'd be very thankful.
Did you happen to find out what their timeline is on completing the new structure and moving in, Paul?
They said that it would be done by early next year. That was what I heard. I don't know if that means Q1, Q2. We had an interesting conversation about the lawn / big ditch next to the library, and what's going to be done with that. And but they said, that they expect they're going to be done by early next year. So construction's moving along pretty rapidly.
All right. We got another phone user. Let's see what happens.
So much interest in ITAC. I'm just really
Great.
warms my heart.
The person on the phone, please identify themselves.
Hello.
Yes, hello. Can you identify yourself, please?
Wow.
It's not helping, and I'm not going to keep you in the room if you're not going to do that. I'm sorry. All right.
Oh man.
Persistent, aren't they? We think
heard a
we're
car
getting
go
bombed
by.
again, Chris, but I'm keeping them in the waiting room.
Oh, all
I
right.
figure if it's a phone, they can't at least show a video.
Right.
So and obviously I talked with them about working with Jim Syracuse and the police department on the cyber threats, cyber risks. Obviously they've got a bird's eye view of what's going on townwide on that. So and I've already talked to Jim about this. So I'd like to put together, and Phil, maybe you and I can just put together like maybe 2 or 3 talk ideas, send them to Peter and the rest of the board, and just sort of say, we're tell us when you want to see it happen, and we can make it happen.
Do you want to get together later in the week or something like that and talk about it, or you want to just?
Sure. As
Yeah.
long as there's coffee to be served, yes.
Do they have a venue, or do we need to find one?
They'll provide the venue. It wasn't totally clear to me whether it would be the Beach Street Center or someplace else. My guess is it'll probably be the Beach Street Center,
Well, if you
but
figure out
they'll manage all that. Yeah.
when and where, I can loop in the media center. We can get a
Yeah.
recording.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I thought about, scams and personal safety and also kind of protections, like talk kind of positive, what can you do to protect yourself? Whether that's, hey, you should be using a password manager, or, hey, you should be using VPN software, or, just, all the kind of basic blocking and tackling that we all take for granted, but actually not that many people do. There's a lot of ground to cover. So, and any of us are qualified to get up there and do that talk. So there it is. Other than that, it was a good talk. I mean, I blabbed at them for about 20 minutes. That was about it.
Thanks, Paul. Any questions?
Yep.
Okay.
Just one quick comment. I don't know if everyone else is seeing this, but I am getting texts almost every day from someone claiming to be Easy Pass.
Oh yeah, that's been reported on
Yeah,
quite
yeah.
a bit.
They're usually from Eastern Europe or somewhere, but
Yeah.
people must be falling for this, otherwise they wouldn't bother doing it.
Yeah, I took a screenshot of one. I also got a really I got a pretty good one that was a fidelity focus too. But yeah.
Yeah, I received one.
Krebs's blog had something a few weeks ago on the toll scams.
Did it?
With some,
Yeah.
Apparently somebody set up a platform for doing this, and like all sorts of crooks are just buying into this platform and pushing this stuff out. Apparently they're doing some fairly nasty stuff with, if they can collect, the credit card information, they're like adding it to digital wallets. And I think the toll scam is their doorway into that. So then they get a bunch of phones with the credit card and a digital wallet, and they sell the phones to people who go off and make purchases.
Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I received the Easy Pass pitch. I also received a fairly
So it says John from Belmont High School can't answer in the waiting room as the the name.
can't reveal himself.
What do you think?
Well,
Chris, you know anyone named John from Belmont High School?
Well, there is a John. Yeah, there's definitely a John at Belmont High.
Sounds fishy to me. I don't know.
Your mic's not working. It says you're not. It doesn't say muted, but
Hold on.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I think they just gave up again. Anyway.
technically, I mean, I think it's appropriate for somebody who's attending either visually or audio.
Charles, are you talking? Because is it just me?
It's just
Yeah.
Now I can't hear anybody. What the heck happened?
We can hear you.
Yeah, we can. Guess not.
Oh, okay. So it was sorry, it was me. My headset's gone.
I was just going to say that I also received a fairly convincing pitch from supposedly Bank of America, and where I and the tip-off, of course, is, I was supposed to call this 800 number that looked like, just a bunch of, as they say in baseball, crooked numbers strung together, which was a real tip-off, because that's not what a commercial establishment normally has, is an 800 number. And sure enough, called Bank of America, and they said, "No, we wouldn't have asked you for your ATM card number. Nope, we wouldn't have done that." And that's what they were looking for.
Hey Dave, if you open sharing, I'll share a screenshot of the one that I got, the toll scam text that I got. People can.
Let's see.
I think it,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think I received that one too.
I I'm not. Well, I'm seeing something. I'm seeing John,
Yeah,
but I'm not seeing whatever Phil's trying to share.
no.
No,
Paul,
I'm sharing it. Hold on
okay, not seeing it yet.
one sec. I haven't shared it yet.
Okay,
Dave, did you decide to let John in?
We can't hear you, Dave.
Maybe he can't hear us.
now we can't hear you. Can you hear us?
Yeah, no, sorry.
Okay, now I can hear you.
Set
All right.
died. I fixed the speaker. I forgot to fix the mic. Sorry.
And John from Belmont High School is in the.
Is in the room. I let him in the room because he kept changing the name to try to communicate with me because he said he couldn't figure it out. I'm giving him 5 seconds to identify himself now, or I'm booting him out.
Trying to identify.
So John, you got 5 seconds.
What constitutes identification sufficient for this?
Like a name?
I want a name.
First and
hopefully a
last?
real name, but yeah, flash a driver's license. I don't know. All right, this is done. I have no patience for this.
Didn't sound like a high school student.
No. If they call the town clerk and I get in trouble, I'll gladly. So you're not able to share, Paul? I gave you permission, I thought.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure. This is just a.
It just
This is
Oh,
just a.
You're on your
trying
phone.
Huh?
You're on your phone.
Yeah, no, it's just a file on my desktop, and I'm just trying to like.
I see it now.
No, you don't. You're seeing
Well,
something
I
else.
see.
2025 ITAC meeting.
Oh, I see
Yeah.
a Google Doc or something. I don't know. I'm sharing this doc.
Yeah, I see a link in the chat.
Yeah, maybe I'll just throw it in the chat.
it's in the chat, and if you hit click on the link, it does do something.
Yeah, it takes me to. It wants me to sign into Zoom or something, which I thought I was signed
I
in.
think
Hold on.
Paul, did you put something into chat already? Because we see.
No, I did not.
Well, that's very interesting because we
Oh.
all are saying.
Oh yeah, no, that's just me clicking some random. Sorry, I'll delete those. That's like some, I don't know, AI feature that I clicked by mistake. Sorry. Sorry.
And they call us ITAC, huh?
Yeah, I know, right? I'm just trying to just want to share a. Oh, maybe it's hard because it's not showing me the thumbnails of the documents. So I'm like, but it's like let me just see. Need to. Okay, so I think it's just the preview. Sorry, one sec. So now I think I got it. Sec. Oh, okay. Okay. Did that work? Yeah, here it is. Ta-da! Sorry.
Yeah.
I got a newer
I've
laptop.
gotten
I
a
got
couple of those too. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's a pretty common scam now.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like, I mean, if we were to do a course about this, you'd want to be like, okay, what's the giveaway here? Obviously, there are a couple. There's the +63 number, right? Like that's
Yeah,
not the state of Massachusetts, right?
Right.
And
Yeah,
then
so
there's this URL. Oh shit, why did I
win.
just? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That that yeah, the gov-etcry.win. I mean, obviously, but yeah, yeah. I mean, these
And
things are, that's
the urgency. This is your
yep,
last opportunity.
Yeah.
I mean,
yep,
that's a dead giveaway.
yep,
If it's urgent and makes you panic slightly, that's intended to
yep,
do so.
yep. And also just like again, as I probably explained, my dad fell for one of these too, where it started with something popping up on his laptop that you've got malware on your machine, call Microsoft at this number, and then he calls the number, and oh yes, this is Microsoft employee number, blah 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 blah, and next thing you know, he's down at Walgreens buying a $1,000 gift card to send to Microsoft Corporation. I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
it's just like
Yeah.
so there is this sort of shifting. Okay, it's not just all on your computer, it's going to shift to phone, or somebody, maybe it'll start to phone and go to your computer, like with the support calls. I mean, so yeah, there's a lot of complexity out there. Anyway. So yeah, Phil, let's grab a coffee and just brainstorm some ideas, and we can send them along to the
Yeah.
library.
Look forward.
Thanks.
Send me an invite.
Okay.
So the next thing on the agenda is any other topics that anyone might have.
Any other topics?
We are going to have an executive session
Yeah,
after we pick the next date.
yeah.
Well, this is a long shot, but does anyone project any particular difficulties for the town due to the various tariffs and sanctions and embargoes and everything else that's going on?
Wonder about some of the grants that we've received and whether that money is still going to come in. I mean, I know there was some cyber related grants. Chris can probably update us on that. I assume that I know they did a lot of work before January to just try and lock in as much money as they could, but I'm not sure where things stand on some of that stuff.
Yeah, that's a good question.
The construction budget of at least the rink is going to go up because two of their big ticket items are sourced from Canada, and they didn't actually cure them for the tariffs. I can't remember the numbers, but it was not insignificant.
What
It
type
was
of,
$300,000 for the cooling system. This is like $1 million cooling system, so 30 something percent tariff on that.
And what was it? There was another thing. I can't remember what it was. Cooling system was something else.
Yeah,
I would presume that the library's got similar issues.
The
Well, I
library is further along. My understanding is they're not nearly as much of an issue.
Okay.
That was what I saw in, I think it was probably a Belmont Voice article, but I'm not certain.
Yeah, I think it was a Belmont Voice article.
The reason the rink construction costs are going up too, is there something associated with that?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about is the rink.
That's what we're talking about, not the library. Okay.
Right.
Yeah,
So the library question is that they're not nearly as much of a problem because they're mostly done and all their materials are already there.
And there's nothing left on the high school too, right? So
I was specifically thinking about the IT side of things.
Got another phone. Let's see what happens.
So
Try it again with the phone. Please identify yourself. We're listening.
Dave, why don't you specify name? Tell him to ask for his name.
Well, please tell us your name. Let us know who you are. I see a phone number, but that's
So weird.
Shall I call the phone number?
There's no telling who you may be waking up.
That's right.
Yeah,
Um,
Yeah, all right.
I'm not putting up with it.
Yeah.
now I'm thinking about items for the school of the town, like upgrading new servers that are going to be more expensive.
Yeah,
'cause-
we tried to get ahead. We ordered there were some scale converged servers we were doing at the police that we got ahead and ordered. We also made sure to order all of the Aruba wireless access points for the library just to get those in stock, just because traditionally those have been impacted by delays in supply chain. But that was really the only discretion we had now. Most of our grants are through the state directly. I know the cybersecurity grant does have some FEMA. So we actually are starting to submit reimbursements for that, and we'll fingers crossed that there's no issues with that. It was kind of a convoluted grant already, but
Reimbursements.
Mhm.
Who do you think you are?
it's unusual because normally the grants are, front
Yeah.
loaded. So this is one of the few grants where we've actually basically had, no funding and we have to reimburse for everything. So.
Makes it a little more complicated.
Okay. If there's no others, let's move on to choosing the next call before we go into executive session. We've been doing Tuesdays because that's been working best for most people. And Robin Tilburg suggested that he would do a Tuesday if we went back to Tuesday. He said that he absolutely was blocked tonight and most Mondays. So I'm looking to go for a Tuesday. My inclination is, if we can, May 27th, because I'm in the community band and Tuesday nights are practices. So I don't have any Tuesdays
Nice.
until the 27th. No, not nice. I'm nowhere near what I was in high school and college. Fortunately, there are other trombonists who are still pretty good. And I can
Still
fake.
good exercise for your brain, Dave. I'll tell you that.
I can still read music.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I'm suggesting the 27th, if that
I
works.
am not available the 27th.
Okay. What about moving into June 3rd?
Hang on a second.
Okay for me.
June 3rd works.
Okay, that works for me.
me.
Excellent.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So June 3rd looks okay?
Yeah.
We need some time to recover from town meeting too. So.
Did
Okay, great. I will move it to June 3rd. And Jim's coming back.
oops.
Just in time, Jim.
All's well.
Good. Glad to
Good.
hear. So just so you're aware, Jim, someone has been persistently trying to get in. I've let him in on the phone a couple times. I'm pretty sure it must all be the same person at this point. But they've never been willing to speak up and identify themselves. So if town clerk has me hauled off to jail for violating OML, you'll know what happened.
Well, they'd have to identify themselves to complain. Hopefully.
Yeah, that's true.
We'll do our best to bail you out.
All right.
Salvador, that's all.
We just scheduled the next meeting for June 3rd, which is a Tuesday. And with that, I guess can vote to move to executive session. I need a motion.
Before we do that, when I was doing the minutes for the last meeting, I think there's some strange protocol that you have to return back to open session to actually officially adjourn the open meeting. Or you have to close the other meeting. It's like the parentheses have to be balanced.
Yeah.
Oh, so
So I would
exiting
suggest,
executive session isn't the same as adjourning the official meeting?
don't think
I
so.
thought I don't remember us coming out of executive session when we met with the select board that time in
I
executive.
can look it up, but I'm just letting you know that we may
Or
need to come back.
maybe they officially closed the other meeting before that we went, because we went to a different room.
Yeah, I think they did.
Or maybe technically we're still in it right now.
So,
I'll look it up as the executive session proceeds to see if I can find anything definitive.
okay. Yeah.
Well, if it's easier, we can just adjourn this meeting now and then just turn off the recording and turn off the AI and just keep going.
Right.
That's probably the best way to do it.
No nested parentheses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, I guess, so how does this work? Like, we vote to adjourn and then hang on the call and I'll turn off the recording and everything?
So sorry, what I just found is under Mass Open Meeting Law, a meeting that enters an executive session must return to open session at some point. The presiding officer must declare whether the meeting will reconvene in open session before entering the executive session. If the meeting does not reconvene in open session, it must be clearly stated that the meeting will not reconvene. So I think you just need to make a clear statement.
Okay, so I'm going to clearly state that we will go to executive session and adjourn from there. We will not resume open session.
I think that's for when there are people who are not going to be in the executive session. So, there's none in this meeting. So,
You don't want them waiting around indefinitely.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can sort of understand why they have that, especially for in-person meetings.
Right. It's not really relevant to us.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, motion to move to executive session to discuss security personnel devices or strategies.
Moved.
Okay. So second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
So let me turn off the